The skies burned red as the last evacuation ships prepared for departure. Commander Taiwan Kim stood at the viewport, watching his homeworld die. The alien coalition, the hegemony, had methodically poisoned Earth's biosphere over decades, claiming the planet violated their sacred expansion zones. "All systems ready," Commander reported Lieutenant Jinna Park, her voice steady despite the tears in her eyes. "Engage drives," Taiwan ordered. As the generation ship broke orbit, he made a silent vow. Humanity would survive. Humanity would return. And those responsible would face justice, no matter how long it took. Taiwan walked the metal corridors of the evacuation ship named Hope's Dawn. His footsteps echoed as he passed families huddled together. They were the lucky ones. Only 10 million humans had escaped Earth. Billions had been left behind. The last reports from Earth's surface came 3 days ago. The hegemony's bioweapons had entered the final phase. All plant life was dying. The oceans were turning toxic. Soon nothing would live on the once blue planet. "Commander, the elders request your presence in the council chamber," said a young officer who approached him with a tired salute. Taiwan nodded and changed direction. The ship was huge, built in secret over 20 years, as scientists first detected the hegemony's approach. Hope's Dawn carried 2 million people. 9 other ships like it carried the rest of surviving humanity. The council chamber was small. 7 old men and women sat around a table. They looked up when Taiwan entered. "The other ships report successful departure," said Elder Min. Her face was lined with age and sorrow. "All 10 vessels are now beyond Earth orbit." "What is our next move?" asked Taiwan. Elder Jun, once Earth's greatest physicist, stood up shakily. "We have mapped a course to a star system with potential habitable planets. It will take nearly 80 years to reach it." 80 years. Taiwan tried to hide his shock. "We will use stasis chambers for most of the journey," explained Elder Jun. "A skeleton crew will rotate duties. You will lead them." Taiwan looked out a small window at the stars. Somewhere out there was the hegemony homeworld. The aliens had appeared 50 years ago with their demands. Earth must be surrendered as it lay in their sacred expansion zone. When humans refused, the attacks began. Not with weapons, but with engineered diseases that targeted plants first, then sea life. "There is something else," said Elder Suk, her voice bringing Taiwan back to the present. "We have prepared a message for future generations." She pushed a small crystal cube across the table. It glowed with a soft blue light. "This contains our history, what Earth was, what the hegemony did, and a promise." Taiwan picked up the cube. "What promise?" "That one day, when we are strong enough, humanity will return to Earth. We will take back our home. And we will make the hegemony pay for what they've done." Later that night, Taiwan couldn't sleep. He went to the observation deck. The ship was accelerating away from the solar system. Earth was now just a small dot behind them. Soon it would be invisible. Lieutenant Jinna Park was already there, staring at the same view. "I keep thinking about my brother," she said without turning. "He chose to stay behind with the resistance fighters." "They had no chance," said Taiwan gently. "I know, but he said someone needed to document what happened, to bear witness." Jinna finally looked at him. "He was sending data until the end. I saved it all." She held up a small device. "The hegemony didn't just attack us for territory. They wanted our technology, our art, our history. They've been stealing from us for years through hidden agents." Taiwan took the device. "This could be valuable when the time comes." "If the time comes," Jinna said, "we're running away. We may never be strong enough to face them again." Taiwan shook his head. "This isn't running away. This is surviving. And humans are good at that." 3 days later, the first problems appeared. The food production systems on 3 ships were failing. Hope's Dawn changed course to help. "We need to transfer engineers to the bright future," Taiwan told his team. "They're losing crop stability. As they approached the sister ship, alarms suddenly blared. "Hegemony vessels detected," shouted the sensor officer. "3 ships approaching fast." Tai-1 rushed to the command center. "How did they find us?" "Unknown, sir, but they're gaining quickly." Tai-1 made a quick decision. "Signal the other ships. Tell them to scatter according to Emergency Plan Delta. We'll draw the hegemony away." Hope's Dawn changed course, moving away from the other evacuation ships. The hegemony vessels followed. "They're targeting our engines," reported Jinnah as the ship shook from the first hits. "Activate the experimental drive," ordered Tai-1. "Sir, it hasn't been tested fully." "Do it now." The ship lurched as the new drive engaged. It had been designed based on observed hegemony technology, reverse-engineered in secret. Stars blurred around them. The ship shuddered violently. When the shaking stopped, they were in unknown space. The hegemony ships were gone. "Where are we?" asked Tai-1. "I don't know exactly," said the navigation officer, "but we're at least 2 light years from our previous position. And the other ships? No contact yet, but they should be safe if they followed the emergency plan." Tai-1 nodded slowly. "Begin damage assessment, and prepare a message beacon to lead our people to us once it's safe." That night, Tai-1 took the crystal cube and the data device from Jinnah to the ship's central memory core. He added them to the historical archives with his own message. "To the children of Earth who will hear this someday, we did not leave by choice. We left to survive. But survival is not enough. Remember Earth. Remember what was taken from us. Grow strong, and when the time is right, return. Reclaim what was ours. Make those responsible face justice. After 1,000 years or 1,000,000, it doesn't matter. Earth's children will return home." Tai-1 didn't know if humans would ever be strong enough to challenge the hegemony. But as he looked around at the 10,000 children already born on the ship, he felt hope. These children would grow up among the stars. Their children would know nothing of Earth except through stories. But someday those stories would fuel a return. And on that day, the hegemony would learn that destroying Earth was their greatest mistake. Dr. Hyun-Ki Song brushed dust from the ancient data crystal, his heart racing. After centuries of wandering through hostile stars, humanity had adapted in ways their ancestors could never have imagined. "I found it," he whispered to his research partner. "The original coordinates of Earth. On 12 harsh worlds, humans had evolved, some developing dense musculature for high-gravity environments, others modify for vacuum exposure. But they never forgot their origin. The promise of return had transformed from desperate hope to cultural cornerstone to scientific imperative." Hyun-Ki's hands shook as he carefully placed the crystal into the reader. The lab around him was silent except for the soft hum of machines. After 200,000 years, the original evacuation ships were long gone, broken down for parts, or preserved in orbital museums. This crystal had passed from generation to generation, from ship to colony to new ship. "Are you sure it will still work?" asked Minji, his research partner. Her eyes were adapted for the dim light of their world, new home, appearing larger and darker than those of their ancestors. "It has to," Hyun-Ki said simply. The reader glowed as it connected with the crystal. Ancient code flashed across the screen, then began to translate itself. The room filled with a holographic star map. "Look at all these stars," Minji breathed. "Our ancestors knew so little of the galaxy." Hyun-Ki pointed to a small yellow star. "There, that's Sol. That's where Earth orbits." For 5 decades, Hyun-Ki had searched for this information. The knowledge of Earth's location had been lost during the Great Division, when the surviving ships had scattered to find habitable worlds. Each colony had developed in isolation for thousands of years before rediscovering each other. "We should contact the Council immediately," Minji said. Hyun-Ki nodded but couldn't take his eyes off the map. "My great-grandmother used to sing me songs about Earth, about blue water and green trees. I thought they were just stories." The next day, they stood before the World Council of New Home. 12 people sat at a round table, each representing one of the human colonies. "What you found could change everything," said Council Leader Sunhai. Her skin had the metallic sheen common to those born on mineral-rich Nuom. "For generations, we've built our civilization with one purpose: to one day return to Earth and confront the hegemony. The coordinates match our oldest star charts," confirmed the Science Minister. "This is indeed the location of Earth. But can we reach it?" asked another council member. "It's on the other side of hegemony space. That's why we need all 12 worlds to work together," Hyun-Ki said. "Each of our colonies has developed different technologies, different adaptations. Together, we might have a chance." Later, as Hyun-Ki left the council chambers, a tall figure approached him. The man's muscles were dense and thick, marking him as from Titan's Forge, a high-gravity world. "Dr. Song," the man said, "I am Junho, ambassador of Titan's Forge. Your discovery has stirred much interest. I hope it leads to action, not just interest," Hyun-Ki replied. Junho nodded. "My people have been building warships for 10,000 years. The promise of return has shaped our entire society, as it has shaped all human worlds." "Not equally," Junho said. "Some colonies speak of peace with the hegemony. They say too much time has passed for revenge to matter." Hyun-Ki frowned. "It's not about revenge. It's about justice. Is there a difference after 200,000 years?" Before Hyun-Ki could answer, alarms rang throughout the building. Red lights flashed. Security personnel rushed past them. "What's happening?" Hyun-Ki asked a passing guard. "Hegemony probe detected in the outer system," the guard replied before hurrying on. Junho's face darkened. "They found us. After all this time." They rushed to the council chamber, which had transformed into a command center. Screens showed a small metallic object approaching Nuom. "It doesn't match any known hegemony design," said the defense minister. "But its energy signature is definitely their technology." "How did they find us?" Sunhai demanded. "We've been hidden in this system for 40,000 years." Hyun-Ki felt a chill. "The crystal. When we activated it, it must have sent a signal." "A trap," Junho growled, "set by the hegemony 200,000 years ago." "We don't know that," Hyun-Ki protested. "But we need to contain that probe before it reports back." The defense minister shook her head. "Too late. It's already transmitting." For 3 days, the people of Nuom prepared for a possible attack. Ships from neighboring human colonies arrived to help, but the hegemony never came. 1 week later, Hyun-Ki met with representatives from all 12 human worlds. The meeting took place on a space station orbiting Nuom. Some attendees were present physically, others as holograms. The probe was not an attack, Hyun-Ki explained to the gathered leaders. It was a survey device. I studied the data we gathered before it self-destructed. It wasn't looking for humans. It was cataloging resources. "They still don't know we survived," said a woman from Aquarius, her webbed fingers marking her as adapted for an ocean world. "This changes everything," Sunhee said. "We now have an advantage. We know they're still out there, but they don't know about us." "I propose a new mission," Hyun-Ki said. "Not to attack Earth directly, but to send scouts. To learn what has become of our homeworld. To see what the hegemony has done with it. And if Earth is now their homeworld," asked Junho. "If they've taken everything from us, then we take it back," said a quiet voice. It was Minji speaking for the first time. "But we do it smart. We do it right. Our ancestors had primitive technology compared to what we have now. We've evolved. Our tech has evolved." The representatives murmured in agreement. "I volunteer to lead the scouting mission," Hyun-Ki said. Sunhee nodded slowly. "We will need representatives from all human worlds. Each adaptation might prove useful." As the meeting ended, Hyun-Ki looked out the station window at the stars. Somewhere out there was Earth, the planet none of them had ever seen but all of them dreamed about. And somewhere out there was the hegemony, who had forced humanity into exile. They had no idea what was coming for them. Humanity had not just survived. It had flourished, diversified, grown stronger. The promise of return was about to be fulfilled, and the hegemony would soon learn that driving humans from Earth had been their greatest mistake. Ambassador Du Yum Lee maintained perfect composure as the hegemony representatives recoiled in shock. "Impossible," hissed the lead diplomat. "The Earth vermin were eradicated. This is some deception." "I assure you," Du Yun smiled, "we are very real, and we remember everything." Behind the diplomatic vessel, cloaked ships carrying the might of human technological advancement waited silently. Captain Suja Quan watched her tactical display, noting every hegemony defense point. They had no idea what humanity had become in the cold forge of exile. Do Yum stood tall in the grand meeting hall of the hegemony's diplomatic station. The room had high ceilings and was filled with representatives from the 7 species that made up the alien coalition. They sat on raised platforms according to their status. The primes, who had led the attack on Earth 500,000 years ago, occupy the highest seats. "We have historical records of the human extinction," said Grand Minister Vexel, his blue-scaled skin reflecting the bright lights. "Your claim is impossible. Your records are incomplete," Du Yun replied calmly. His specially designed suit hid his enhanced muscles and tech implants. To the aliens, he appeared as a normal human from ancient times. "Explain your survival, then," demanded another alien, this one with multiple eyes and speaking through a translator. 10 ships escaped Earth before your bioweapons completed their work," Du Yun said. "We found refuge among the stars. We built new homes. We waited. We remembered." The hall erupted in angry chatter. The hegemony representatives spoke in different languages, their universal translators struggling to keep up. On the hidden human fleet, Captain Suji kept her eyes fixed on the tactical display. 20 ships, each carrying technology that would seem like magic to the hegemony, waited in perfect silence. Their cloaking systems were based on principles the hegemony had never discovered. "If humans survived, why reveal yourselves now?" asked Grand Minister Vexel when the noise died down. "After so much time, we wish to discuss the return of Earth to its rightful owners," Du Yun said simply. Laughter filled the hall. "Earth is a museum world now," said Vexel, "a reminder of our power. It has no value except as a monument to species who defy the hegemony." Du Yun nodded as if considering this. "I would like to see this museum." "Why would we allow that?" "As a gesture of goodwill. To show that the hegemony is as powerful and reasonable as legend claims." Du Yun knew how to appeal to their pride. The Grand Minister consulted with his advisors. Finally, he nodded. "You may visit Earth under escort. 1 ship only." "Thank you." Du Yun bowed slightly. "We accept your generous offer." As the meeting ended, Du Yun transmitted a coded message to the waiting fleet. Phase 1 complete. Back on his ship, Du Yun met with Captain Suji and the other leaders of the mission. "They suspect nothing," he reported. "They believe we're a small group, possibly a lost colony." "Their arrogance is unchanged," said Sujai. Her eyes, adapted for seeing in multiple light spectrums, scanned the room. "Even after 500,000 years, they've had no real challenges in all that time," said Chief Scientist Hanjun. "Their technology has barely advanced since they destroyed Earth. While we've been forced to innovate to survive," added General Minho, the military leader. His skin had the metallic sheen of those from high-gravity worlds. "Each of our 12 worlds developed unique solutions to unique problems." Du Yun nodded. "Now we need to see Earth to confirm what they've done with our homeworld." 3 days later, Du Yun's diplomatic vessel approached Earth, escorted by 2 hegemony warships. From orbit, the planet looked nothing like the blue world from historical records. It was brown and lifeless. "Scans show the atmosphere is now breathable," reported the science officer. "They've done some basic terraforming, but there's minimal plant life." "Their museum is a wasteland," Suji said quietly. The hegemony permitted a small delegation to shuttle down to the surface. Du Yun led the team, including disguised soldiers and scientists. They landed near what was once called North America. A hegemony official met them at the landing site. "Welcome to Earth Memorial," the alien said. "Follow me." They walked through a barren landscape. In the distance, Du Yun could see structures that weren't natural. The alien led them to a large building made of black material. "This is the Museum of Human Failure," announced the guide proudly. "It contains artifacts from the species that defied the sacred expansion zone." Inside, Du Yun's people were shocked to see ancient human items on display. Art, technology, even preserved human remains. "These are grave robberies," whispered Sujai angrily. "Control yourself," Du Yun warned under his breath. Then, louder, he asked the guide, "You've preserved quite a collection. For what purpose?" "To study, of course," the guide said. "Humans had interesting technology. Primitive, but with potential. We've learned much from your artifacts." "I see," Du Yun replied, his face carefully blank. That night, as the hegemony guards thought the humans were sleeping, Suji's team activated specialized equipment. They took detailed scans of the planet and sent the data to the waiting fleet using channels the hegemony couldn't detect. "They've stripped the planet of resources," Hanjun reported. "But the core is intact. Earth could be restored with our technology. And they're using stolen human tech throughout their empire," added Minho. "Much of it modified, but the foundations are clearly from Earth." Du Yun nodded. "This confirms everything our ancestors believed." The next day, as they prepared to leave Earth, Du Yun requested a meeting with the hegemony official. "We thank you for showing us your museum," he said formally. "You will report to your people that the hegemony is merciful," the official said. "We could have killed all humans, but we allowed your ancestors to flee. Remember that." Du Yun smiled. "We remember everything." Back on the diplomatic vessel, heading away from Earth, Du Yun gathered his team. "Begin Phase 2, he ordered. "Send the signal to all human worlds. The time has come." Suji nodded and transmitted a coded message to the cloaked fleet. The ships acknowledged and began to move into predetermined positions. "The hegemony has no idea what's coming," Minho said. "They think we're a curiosity, a lost tribe." "That's their final mistake," Du Yun replied. "For 500,000 years, humanity has had one goal: to return home and hold the hegemony accountable. Every child learns the promise of return before they learn to walk. Every advance in technology has been aimed at this moment." He looked at the tactical display showing the vast hegemony empire sprawling across the stars in arrogant confidence. "They took our world," Du Yun said quietly. "Now we take their empire." General Junho Choi studied the holographic map showing infiltration points across the hegemony's empire. The aliens had grown lazy, dependent on systems they barely understood, systems based on stolen Earth technology. "Their entire civilization runs on automation they can't maintain," he explained to the War Council. "We've placed our agents in key positions across their worlds." For 50 years, they had been patient. Now, with a single command, 500,000 years of planning would culminate in the hegemony's collapse from within. The War Council chamber was deep inside an asteroid base at the edge of human space. 12 leaders sat around the table, one from each of the human colony worlds. General Junho stood tall, his body adapted to the high gravity of his homeworld, Titan's Forge. "Show us the key targets," said Admiral Min Seo, her eyes reflecting the blue glow of the hologram. Junho touched the display. Red dots appeared across the map of hegemony space. "These are their central power nodes. Each one runs on systems originally stolen from Earth's archives. Our ancestors were clever. They built secret weaknesses into their most advanced technology, weaknesses the hegemony never found." 50 years of infiltration, mused Council leader Sangmin. "How many agents do we have in place?" "Over 10,000, Junho replied. "Some are human. Others are AIs we planted in their systems. Many are members of subjugated species who want freedom from hegemony rule. The hologram zoomed in on the hegemony's capital world. A massive space station orbited the planet, shaped like a ring. This is their central control. It manages all interstellar travel, communication, and defense systems. We have 17 agents there alone. Admiral Min Seo leaned forward. And when we activate the plan, their ships will lose navigation, their weapons will fail, their communications will go silent, and they won't know why. They'll suspect an attack, said Commander Yunji, the military strategist. Jun-ho nodded. Yes, but not from us. They still believe humans are a small lost colony group. Our diplomatic team under Ambassador Du-Yun has convinced them we're seeking protection, not revenge. The council fell silent, considering the plan that had been developing for generations. The plan to bring down an empire that spanned 1,000 worlds. Later that day, Jun-ho met with his top intelligence officer in a secure room. Agent Ji-woo has sent her final report from Hegemony Central Control, said Colonel Dae-sung, handing over a datapad. Jun-ho read it carefully. She's confirmed that the backdoor access is still in place. Yes, sir. When the ancient Earth systems were integrated into the Hegemony network, they'd brought our hidden code with them. Over time, the Hegemony modified the systems, but never found the core weaknesses. And our other agents, all in position. The strike teams are ready. The moment we shut down their systems, our forces will move to capture their leadership. Jun-ho nodded. Tell them to prepare for the signal in 3 days. 3 days later, Jun-ho stood before a simple console in the command center. Leaders from all 12 human worlds watched, some in person, others via secure hologram. Today, we reclaim our heritage, Jun-ho said. Today, we fulfill the promise of return. He placed his hand on the console. It read his DNA, confirming his identity. The screen lit up with a message. Authorization confirmed. Execute Operation Homecoming. Jun-ho touched yes. Across hegemony space, thousands of hidden programs activated at once. On ship after ship, station after station, planet after planet, systems began to fail in careful sequence. On the Hegemony Central Control Station, Agent Ji-woo watched as panic spread among the alien officials. Warning lights flashed on every console. Communications went dead. Defense shields failed. What's happening? Demanded a high-ranking Hegemony officer, his scales changing color with stress. Unknown system failure, reported a technician. We're cut off from the network. Ji-woo discreetly touched her communicator. Phase 1 complete. Moving to Phase 2. Throughout the station, other human agents received the same message. They moved to their assigned positions, ready to take control of key areas. Back at the Human Command Center, Jun-ho watched as data streamed in from across hegemony space. Defense network is down, reported Colonel Dae-sung. Their fleet is scattered and disconnected. Communications grid has failed, added another officer. They can't coordinate a response. Jun-ho nodded. Begin Phase 2. Launch the strike teams. From hidden bases near key hegemony worlds, human ships emerge. They moved without resistance to their targets, government centers, military bases, and the homes of hegemony leaders. On the hegemony homeworld, Ambassador Du-Yun was meeting with the Grand Council when the lights went out. Emergency systems activated, bathing the room in red light. What treachery is this? Demanded Grand Minister Vexel. Not treachery, Du-Yun replied calmly. Justice. The doors opened, and human soldiers entered. They moved with the enhanced speed and strength that generations of adaptation had given them. In the name of Earth and humanity, you are now under our protection, Du-Yun announced. The word protection was carefully chosen. The same word the hegemony had used when they first contacted Earth 500,000 years ago. On 100 worlds at once, the same scene played out. The hegemony leadership was captured without a shot being fired. Their technology had been turned against them so completely that resistance was impossible. 1 week later, Junho stood with the War Council as they received reports from across former hegemony space. The transition is proceeding smoothly, reported Commander Yunji. Most hegemony citizens don't even know what happened. They were told there was a system failure, now resolved. And the leadership? Asked Council Leader Sangmin. Secure. They've been taken to the holding facility on Titan's Forge. Junho looked at the holographic map. Where red dots had shown hegemony control centers, now green dots showed human presence. What about Earth? He asked. Admiral Mincio smiled for the first time. Teams have landed. Assessment of restoration requirements has begun. It will take time, but Earth will live again. Junho thought of his ancestors, fleeing a dying world. They could never have imagined what their descendants would become, or that their careful planning would one day bear fruit. There's still much to do, he said. The hegemony control thousands of worlds. Many species were under their rule. We aren't the hegemony, said Council Leader Sangmin firmly. We won't rule them. We'll free them. Junho nodded. That was the difference between humans and the hegemony. The aliens had sought domination. Humans sought justice. Send word to all operational teams, he ordered. Phase 3 begins tomorrow. Operation Restoration. The revenge of Earth's children was not just to defeat the hegemony, but to build something better in its place. After 500,000 years of exile, humanity had returned, not just to reclaim a planet, but to remake a galaxy. Earth hung in the viewport, a barren monument preserved by the hegemony as a trophy of their victory. Director Jai Yunyun watched as the Hegemony High Council was marched onto the surface in environmental suits. Your ancestors destroyed our home, she said simply. Now you will help us rebuild it. The aliens expected execution. Instead, humanity sentenced them to life, to generations of restoration work. As Jai Yun planted the first seedling in Earth's recovering soil, she thought of Commander Kim's ancient promise. After 500,000 years, Earth's children had returned, not just for revenge, but for rebirth. The 7 members of the Hegemony High Council stood on Earth's surface, their environmental suits gleaming in the harsh sunlight. The planet's atmosphere, though technically breathable, was still thin and harsh after centuries of neglect. The ground beneath their feet was hard-packed dirt where forests once grew. Jai Yun stepped forward. Unlike the aliens, she needed no environmental suit. Her body, like those of all humans from the colony world of New Eden, had been adapted to survive in harsh conditions. You look confused, she said to Grand Minister Vexel, the leader of the Hegemony Council. Did you expect us to kill you? It would be logical, Vexel replied through his suit's speaker. Your kind has waited 500,000 years for vengeance. If we wanted vengeance, you would already be dead. Jai Yun gestured to the barren landscape around them. This was once the most beautiful planet in this part of the galaxy. Your ancestors turned it into a desert because it fell within your sacred expansion zone. The other council members remained silent, their alien features unreadable behind their helmet visors. Today, you begin your sentence. Jai Yun continued. Your people destroyed Earth. Your people will help restore it. Impossible, said another council member. The damage is too extensive. Jai Yun smiled. We've spent 500,000 years learning how to make dead worlds live again. Earth will breathe once more. Behind them, large ships began to land. They carried soil, seeds, and saplings from a dozen human worlds. Each colony had preserved Earth species, modified them, and created new hybrids that could thrive in harsh conditions. Your first task, Jai Yun told the council, is to prepare the ground for planting. You will work alongside human scientists and laborers. For how long? Asked Vexel. For generations, your children and their children will continue the work. The aliens exchanged glances. In their culture, children inherited the debts and obligations of their parents. And the rest of our people? Vexel asked. They continue their lives, but under a new compact. The hegemony no longer exists as a ruling power. All species now have equal status in the new Galactic Alliance. Workers approached, carrying tools and equipment. The restoration of Earth had begun. 6 months later, Jai-Yun stood at the edge of what would someday be a forest. Already, small green shoots pushed up through the enriched soil. The first rains had fallen last week, the result of atmosphere processors the humans had brought. A human aide approached her. "Director, we found something you should see." Jai-Yun followed him to an excavation site nearby. Workers had uncovered the remains of an ancient human city. "We believe this was once called Seoul," the aide explained. "There are artifacts preserved beneath the surface." Jai-Yun knelt and touched the exposed corner of a building. Her ancestors might have walked here 500,000 years ago. "Preserve everything," she ordered. "This will be the first location for the Earth Memorial Museums." "Not museums of failure this time," came a voice behind her. It was Vexel, now dressed in simpler work clothes. After months on Earth, he no longer needed an environmental suit for short periods outside. "No," Jai-Yun agreed. "Museums of remembrance." Vexel's scales shifted color, a sign of emotional disturbance among his species. "My people have been studying your history. Your kind were more impressive than our records indicated." "The hegemony erased much of our history," Jai-Yun said, "but we kept our own records." "I have been thinking about something," Vexel said carefully, "about why your commander Kim made his promise, and why your people kept it for so long." "And what have you concluded?" "That humans value their home more than conquest. You could have destroyed us all, but instead you chose to rebuild." Jai-Yun nodded. "Earth isn't just a planet to us. It's the beginning of our story." 3 years later, Jai-Yun stood on a hillside overlooking the first completed restoration zone. Trees stood 10 meters tall, their growth accelerated by technology developed on the colony worlds. A small lake reflected the sky, which was now properly blue for the first time in 500,000 years. Birds soared overhead, genetically identical to Earth birds, preserved in DNA banks all those centuries ago. In the lake, fish swam. Some had been modified by the colonists of water worlds, but their ancestors had come from Earth's oceans. A group of children ran along the lakeshore. Some were human. Others were young hegemony, their scales gleaming in the sunlight. Behind them walked their parents, human scientists and hegemony workers, talking together as colleagues. "This was not what I expected," said a voice beside Jai-Yun. It was General Junho, visiting from the military headquarters on Mars. "What did you expect?" Jai-Yun asked. "More punishment for them. Less cooperation." Jai-Yun smiled. "The greatest punishment for the hegemony is to see their worldview proven wrong. They believed we were vermin to be exterminated. Now they work beside us, rebuilding what their ancestors destroyed." "And the children?" Junho nodded toward the mixed group playing by the lake. "They know nothing of ancient hatreds. They know only that Earth needs them." That evening, a ceremony was held to mark the completion of the first restoration zone. Humans from all 12 colony worlds attended, along with representatives from former hegemony species. Jai-Yun stood on a platform before them. Behind her stood a glass case containing the ancient data crystal that Commander Ta-Won Kim had recorded 500,000 years ago. "Today, we fulfill a promise made when our ancestors fled their dying world," Jai-Yun announced. "They vowed to return, to reclaim Earth, and to hold accountable those who destroyed it." She gestured to the trees, the lake, the new life springing from once dead soil. "But true justice isn't found in destruction. It's found in creation. Our ancestors didn't just promise revenge. They promised rebirth." As night fell, lights illuminated the new forest. Scientists released glowing insects, modified versions of Earth's fireflies. They rose into the trees like stars coming to life. Vexel approached Jai-Yun after the ceremony. "I have studied your Commander Kim's message," he said. "He spoke of justice, not vengeance." "Yes," Jai-Yun agreed. "There's a difference. My people are learning that difference. Vexel looked at the children, still playing despite the late hour. These young ones will not make our mistakes. As Vexel walked away, Jai-Yun looked up at the stars. Somewhere up there, the old hegemony was being transformed. Former subject species were gaining their freedom. Human colonies were sharing their technology. A new order was taking shape. Earth had been the beginning of humanity's story. Now it would be the beginning of a new chapter, not just for humans, but for all intelligent species in this part of the galaxy. Jai-Yun touched the soil beneath her feet. After 500,000 years, Earth's children had indeed returned. And they had brought with them not just the memory of what was lost, but the wisdom gained through centuries of adaptation and survival. The revenge of Earth's children was complete, but it wasn't the revenge the hegemony had feared. It was better. It was life. Retroclaude can make mistakes. Please double-check responses.